Hi, I'm Andy and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about being Hapa and what I used to hate about it. I am half Chinese, my mom is from Taiwan, and my dad is from the US. And my dad said the family has been in the US for quite some time, but I think they're Western European, like German and Irish. Usually when I talk about being half Chinese, I have a big smile on my face because I love it. I'm 25 now and I've grown to love it, I guess I should say. When I was little, I didn't really think about being half Chinese. I just felt like I was different. I felt like I didn't belong, and that was the biggest reason why I hated being half Chinese. I absolutely hated that I didn't look like the folks on the white side of my family. Everyone on my dad's side has either blue eyes or green eyes and like blonde hair or light brown hair, and I just wanted to look like them. When I would bring my friends to see my grandparents, people would think that my friend was actually related to my grandparents, and that made me pretty sad because, you know, when you're young, you want to feel like you belong, at least with your family, if not with people at school, just at least with people at home. So I never really felt like I belonged with my white family. I think part of that was not only appearances, but the fact that they didn't really understand what being Chinese is like. And that's through no fault of their own, but it just was really different when I was with my white side versus when I was with my mom. And so I felt like I kind of had to be a different person when I was with my dad or with my grandparents or aunt and uncle or cousins, because if I would like talk about Chinese food or Chinese things, they just wouldn't understand. They never made me feel like I should be ashamed by any means, but I learned pretty young that I learned how to be like a different person basically around the different sides of my family. And this was made like very apparent, especially because my parents got divorced. So when I was with my dad, it was very much like switch into white side dad mode. And then when I was with my mom, it was like switch into Chinese mode. I also didn't feel like I was completely Chinese either. When I was in elementary school, I would go to an after-school Chinese program. And this was in the 90s or early 2000s. Yeah, this was in the 90s. And most kids there were full Chinese. I don't think like learning Chinese was as cool as it is now. I remember there was this one girl, I think she was even like in kindergarten, I was in 2nd grade or something. She said something about me not being full Chinese and it made me cry. I just vividly remember crying on the playground, like, looking from atop this jungle gym and hoping to see like my dad come pick me up like really soon because I just didn't want to be there. So I didn't feel like I was Chinese enough either. I remember my mom and I had the same shoe size when I was in 5th grade. She's 5 feet tall and I'm now 5'9". So I definitely don't look like my mom either. She's very small and petite and like long black hair. That really, really bothered me when I was little. It also didn't help that she would call me fat. But we'll talk about that later. I think if you have like an Asian parent, you'll understand being called fat even though you really weren't. But yeah, like she would always be like, oh, I was 99 pounds, you know, when I was growing up in Taiwan, like eat more fruits and vegetables, be skinny. And there's no way that I could ever be as tiny as my mom was when she was my age. Like there's just no way. And yet she would still be like, you need to lose weight. So I always wanted to be short and petite, and I was really mad in high school when I started getting taller. I had a growth spurt in like 10th grade and I got really tall and I was taller than like most of the boys, and I was just really upset. I hated being tall and I would like cram my feet into like shoes that were way too small. So these feelings of like not belonging continued from elementary school well into high school. It was only in college that it really started to change, but I'll get to that later. It also didn't help that there weren't very many Asian or half Asian people on TV, so I didn't really feel like I had anyone to look up to, even though, like, why should people look up to actors and actresses? I want to be an actor though, so. Anyway, but I remember when Kristen Crook was on Smallville, that was just like the most amazing thing ever. She was the first half Asian person I'd seen on TV, and I really loved her and I wanted to be her, and I just loved everything about her. So she was like the only like celebrity that I felt I could identify with. But even then on Smallville, she played a full white girl, so so much for that. But nowadays we have like Fresh Off the Boat, and that is just, it's crazy awesome. Like every time I watch it, I'm still just like, there's a TV show about a Taiwanese family? What? It makes me so happy. So we need more of that. As I got older, I guess I started to really own my Chinese-ness. In high school, I took Chinese because my mom forced me to, but then I actually wanted to learn more Chinese in college, so I minored in it. And that was when I started feeling like, okay, like being half Chinese is really cool. It's something like people don't really know about me just by looking at me, and so I feel like I have this like cool, you know, special secret. And I think in college there were like a ton more people that I was exposed to, not just like half Asian girls and guys, but like international students and people who are mixed with a bunch of other things, and I just was able to see that I wasn't the only one who felt this way, and I wasn't the only one who grew up with like a really strict Asian parent and like a really chill white parent. Like I was starting to feel like I could relate to people, and people had the same experiences that I did. So moral of the story is, if you feel this way, know that you are not alone. I definitely still feel like sometimes, I wish I just looked like someone in my family. Like, if you feel this way, know that it's normal. And something that I'm slowly starting to realize is that everyone in the whole world, not just Hapa people, but everyone feels like they don't belong. Whether it's, you know, when they were younger, or right now, or multiple times throughout the day, like everyone has had that same feeling of not quite fitting in and being other. It's one thing to like just tell you like, get over it, like everyone else feels the same way, you'll be fine, because I know that like if you have these feelings, they're like really deeply rooted, and for me I think they even make up like a core piece of who I am, just feeling like, ah, who am I, where do I belong? That's like something I'll always carry with me. But it gets easier, and the more people you meet and the more things you're exposed to in your life, you'll realize that speaking multiple languages, growing up with like different cultures in your household, that is something that's so special. No one can ever take that away from you, and that will only make you a more interesting, unique person that other people will want to be friends with throughout your life. It sounds so corny, and I feel like whenever I do these serious videos, I end up sounding so cheesy and like an 80-year-old woman trying to like teach you a life lesson before I die. Now I'm so proud of being half Chinese, and I love telling people that I'm half Chinese because they're interested, because people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that about you. And I'm like, yeah, and I lived in China, and I studied Asian American Studies and Mandarin Chinese in college, and I speak Chinese, and it's awesome, and let's go get dim sum. I used to work at Din Tai Fung. That's not dim sum, but it's still Chinese food, and let's have chicken feet. So it's something that I'm really excited about now, and I wish I knew exactly how or when it happened, but I think it just took time. It took time realizing that a lot of these feelings I had were just feelings. They weren't real. It wasn't my white grandma being like, ah, you half Chinese, girl, get out. No, if anything, she was like, oh my gosh, your eyelashes are so dark, like jelly. Except she doesn't say jelly, I do. But truly, like, what makes you special and what sets you apart is your greatest asset, because you're not going to get hired over someone or get into a college over someone because you're similar to them. You're going to get that position or whatever you're going after because you have something different. You have like a little edge. So keep that in mind, even when it feels like you're just like a weirdo and you don't belong anywhere. Like, it will only help you in the future. So never let go of that special thing about yourself. If you are Hapa or mixed or whatever, I'd love to hear if you've ever felt like this before and how you kind of, you know, moved past it or acknowledged it. Please leave a comment below. I really love reading about folks who have these similar experiences because it helps me like grow as a person. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 谢谢。感谢，非常非常感谢。EXO加油！